As Diane and I started thinking about what we love about conferences, we love the chance to talk to people. And as Diane alluded to before, that there's a lot of wisdom in this room. And I'm going to give you a hint, none of it resides with me. So as we were thinking about this in the lead up to the Q conference last year, we said, well, what if we tried to have a session where people got a chance to talk and people got a chance to hear what other teachers were doing? And we started a conversation, but in no way did we own it, in no way did we guide it, in no way did we say, no, that's the wrong thing to talk about, we need to talk about something else. And so Stop Teaching and Start Learning was born about a year ago.
What was the last thing you said? It was born...
A year ago?
A year ago.
At Q.
These microphones make it like I can't hear what he's saying and he's standing right there. So yes, we did it last year at Q, and then at Fall Q, back in October, we did the same thing. And what was cool about that is we were all sitting, and if anybody came in a little late, they had no idea who was in charge. And I loved that. Like, they kept looking around and going, wait, I think she's advancing slides. Maybe is she the speaker? I'm not really sure. So I kind of feel like that's what I want to have happen when someone walks into my classroom, too. I work in a high school. Some of the kids are bigger than me, so I want it to be somebody walks in the room and they're like, who's in charge here? Which person works here and which person is paying tuition? Okay. So that's kind of what we'd like for here. I think Carl has a good plan of how we might organize the room so that we can have those kind of conversations.
So we have some questions that we'd love to have you try to work through. By no means are these the only questions you should talk about. By no means do we think this is the order you should go in. We weren't sure the size of the room we were going to be in, and we thought maybe we'd have one conversation that might be progress in that order. But if a few people want to get these slides up, that'll give you an idea once we break you up, kind of. If you're like, and nobody's saying anything right now, you could move on to a next question. So we've got kind of a space up here, and a space in the back, and another space in the back on either side of the camera, and then another space up here. So what we were thinking about is just kind of chopping the room into quarters and trying to get a circle of folks up here just talking about why teachers should stop teaching and standing in the front of the room and being the deliverers of content and start learning and start getting among their kids, and how we can move towards a student-centered classroom. How can we overcome some of the hurdles that might come from parents, from students, from administrators, who are the kind of thought leaders in these areas that we should be learning from, that we should be following on Twitter, whose blogs we should be reading, and then what that looks like in practice or in action.
And I had a helpful tip from Joanne Fox. The bit.lys are case sensitive. If it's not working for you, try typing it exactly as you see it. If you move furniture, please do put it back. Because at the end of this hour, we do need to go back to conformity and, rigidness and...
Rose.
Am I talking out loud? Is that coming out? Okay, sorry about that. All right, so do, get the kind of kumbaya circle situation going on. And we're just going to kind of circulate, and once you guys get to where you're going to be, we're going to start launching questions. It's going to be awesome.
So once we get folks to a spot, there's just, and I'm just going to fly through these real quick for folks so they have an idea where the conversation may go. Just some ideas on how to get kids to be more in charge of their learning. Is that fair as a main idea?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get a circle of folks up here. Let's put a circle in the back and a circle in the back. If you're sitting at a table in 3 minutes, you're not part of the conversation. Come join the conversation.
If you're sitting at a table, you're doing it wrong.
It might not be a bad idea to bring your device so you could take notes, so you can tweet this great person to follow so everybody can learn from the conversations that are happening. You don't need to bring your device if you don't want to, though.
Be part of this, right? That's cool. Does anybody else need the links that are up on the slide? We're going to move on to the first question, probably. I like that there are some smaller subgroups, because sometimes you're going to have a group of kids in your class that doesn't want to be part of the big group. Have a small group that's more comfortable. That's totally cool.
A place you could start the conversation, and then we're going to turn our microphones off and come learn with you, is what is the difference between sage on the stage and guide on the side? Go.
Did you learn about something new or think about something in a different way? Who learned something new?
I heard a conversation about second graders tackling homelessness in their community that totally blew my mind.
And I saw someone teaching someone else how to use something in Google Docs. So that happened. Everything and anything is possible. Can you continue these conversations where you work and live? That gentleman back there who brought his friend in with the 20 time, wave to me, dude. You know I'm talking, that's the guy. When I walked by him just a few minutes ago, he was basically having that conversation. Can you bring this kind of thinking back to where you work and do it with your students or do it with your faculty or whatever the case might be? And he was also, like I mentioned, somebody who said to his friend, hey, wait, come join our group. I want you to tell them about that thing that you do. So that was so cool.
So I think the power of things like this is we're respecting teachers' knowledge and we're respecting teachers' time and hopefully giving them the space to make meaning for themselves. That's powerful for professional development, but when you start thinking about what that looks like in your classroom, it's almost scary because then why are we sitting here talking about, I teach history, why are we sitting here talking about the Industrial Revolution right now necessarily? Is that what my kids would choose to think about? It doesn't mean we throw away our curriculum, but I think if we can start asking ourselves critical questions about what we're doing and why we're doing it, that's just going to make us better.
And I returned to the first slide because Carl and I were going around. You might have thought we went out like for a coffee or something. No, we were totally here the whole time. Hugging people, seeing people, meeting new friends. But we were also tweeting. So you might see yourself in a picture or recognize something you said, paraphrased in one of our tweets, that we were trying to share on the hashtag Stop Teaching. So you may want to go and check that out and see if the thoughts that you had, got shared. But also, hopefully, people were writing down the things that they heard in the shared document. And that's not going anywhere. That resource is going to stay online. So if you have the link to it, you can always go back to it.
The final thing I would say to you is I think these conversations are incredibly powerful, but it's all for naught if we don't go out and do something. You need to take something you heard today, hopefully from here, maybe it's from a session later, but if you go home and don't do something different, so go out, try something new, take a risk, make a mistake, and then just make sure the mistake is a little bit smaller the next time.
Thank you very much for having this conversation and letting us listen.